Hi, welcome to another edition of Shabbat Lounge. As always, I appreciate your time listening today and dedication to the program, and ask that you give me a comment, a like, subscribe, share it on some social media platform. I definitely would appreciate it if you find this to be meaningful and helpful to you or to anyone else that you might know. Please share it and give me some feedback. Let me know, hey, I listened to you or something. So, and I also have a blog, and from time to time I write, but right now I've been pretty much just doing a podcast thing, and I will write from time to time. I kind of go back and forth between writing and podcasting. Anyway, that's enough about that. But I wanted to tell you something that I learned years ago. There was a gentleman that I used to go to church with, and he was in his 20s at the time, and he was really wise beyond his years, and really he was a good son who listened to his father, and had a great relationship with his dad. And he was teaching a class on, a young adult class, and we're all raising families together, and all our children were pretty young. And he taught this principle in this class, and it was this. He said, if you don't have your child by the age of 5, and they're not scared of your authority and respect your authority, you've lost the battle. You've lost the war. And it's going to be so much more difficult for you going forward to get them in line. The earlier you get them, get your bluff in, so to speak, and have them believe that you mean what you say and that you back it up, and your words have power, and if they violate your principles, there's going to be a consequence to pay. So today's topic is fatherhood. What it means to be a good father. But his words really stuck with me, resonated with me, and hit a chord, because my children were all under 5, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get a hold of this. And I did. And that's what we have to do. And and it meant, yes, I spanked my children. What? Some people today might say and be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe he beat his children. Okay, believe it. And believe that they turned out to be pretty good human beings and are still in the process of becoming pretty awesome people, in my opinion. And it's because when they got in trouble with mom and wouldn't do what mom said because she was a stay-at-home mom, that meant they had to answer to me when I came home. If they laughed at mom when she tried to give them a spanking or went south, she's calling me going, hey, you're going to have to back me up here. And I did. And, when you do it right when they're little, you don't have to be crazy and ridiculous later. And I see so many people that miss the boat when they were little. And then when they try to enforce the rules and do what needs to be done at a later date, sometimes the punishment seems crazy and wild, and I don't know. It's just so much easier to do it when they're little. And if your grandparents raising children, your grandchildren, or grandparents whose your own kids maybe not have turned out exactly how you want to, intervene in those grandkids' lives. Take part of it. Help raise them right. Anyway, that's a side note, separate discussion. So the other thing that I learned is I read the book Raising Boys or something like that by James Dobson. And I've kind of gone in and out on how I think about Dobson, but I do believe he was on to a bit of truth in that book, Raising Up Boys or Bringing Up Boys. And one of the things he said in there is so much of our society has become, it has become matriarchal instead of patriarchal. And man, I believe that to be so true. And that is directly from the enemy. When you look at the satanic forms of worship, it's all very matriarchal versus patriarchal, in which the biblical system is very patriarchal. And so it makes sense that the enemy would try to do something just opposite. And more than ever, our society, our world, our nation are lacking strong male leadership, strong men who have testosterone coursing through their veins. We need that. There's a reason why we were made that way, and it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but it has to be channeled, and it has to be. There's ways in which it can be used for awesomeness, and and that's the challenge, is raising up boys that are strong, tough men without taking away the element of being a boy and being a young man. The one thing so James Dobson definitely had that right about our society being feminized, and so many of our churches being feminized, and male behavior, so much of male behavior, and yes, there's a lot of bad male behavior, but there are definitely characteristics that men have and that boys have that aren't necessarily bad, but in our school systems and so many times our church systems, we try to take that out of them and make them more like the girls, which is wrong. They're boys. They need to be boys and not a girl. And it's okay. They're not the same. And I know that's a really sensitive topic with the de-gentrification of America, but once again, that's another agenda straight from the pit of hell to convince you that about this transgender business, and it's because they believe in a transgender God, and of course they want everything to go this way because that's their religious belief, and everybody just jumps on the bandwagon and is like, oh yeah, that's awesome. So, but just know that's a lie. Alright, so I'm digressing. The point is fatherhood, what it means to be a good father. I read in that Dobson book that men need to take their children with them wherever they go. If they're going on some adventure, bring the kids. That time spent with the father at a young age is critical. And I felt like I tried to do that as much as possible. I don't know how successful I was with that. I think sometimes I was better at it than others. We all are human, flawed beings. None of us are doing this life thing perfectly. I will say that off at the beginning, but I did try to, especially my boys, I tried to pick them up and take them with me, and wherever I went, whatever I did, I tried to include them. If I was working for grandma, I went, well, these boys are going to help me, and they hated it sometimes. They just wanted to lay up around the house with grandma and watch cartoons, maybe on a vacation time when we're there just hanging out. And I get that. And then I would be like, all right, boys, put your clothes on. We're going to go chop some firewood. I need some wood carriers for me. That's not a lot of fun, but it's good skills and good work that you need to know how to do work. You need to know how to do work with your hands. Too many men, they've grown up and they don't know how to fix things. They don't know how to work with their hands. And I think that's part of that, de-gentrification of the manhood, and they bought into that lie, that boys are boys because we give them Ken dolls. Well, first off, I have a lot of problems with that, but and girls are girls because they get Barbie dolls, First off, no one ever gave my boys a Ken doll. We would have lit it on fire. In fact, I think that did happen. I'm pretty sure it involved fireworks and drilling a hole and Ken in a certain strategically placed part of his anatomy and sticking firecrackers and gasoline, and so that's what we did with Ken, and it was fun. I think we have it on video somewhere. But anyway, the point is, men, we've got to spend time with our boys. We've got to spend time with our children. You've got to make it happen. Yes, it's great that you could be a big provider. Maybe you bring home a big paycheck and you put food on the table and you drive new cars and you live in a fancy house. Woohoo! And you can buy your children brand new cars and pay for their school, at a young age. You're locked in, got your tuition, got a savings account for them already. That's fantastic. That is amazing. Definitely a blessing from the Father. But it's all for nothing if you don't have a good relationship with them, and a good relationship starts with discipline. We must discipline our children. We must teach them at a young age to be respectful, to respect authority, and then they can understand the authority that our Father has. If they can't understand authority from their human father, understanding authority from their heavenly Father is going to be much more difficult. So it's a big challenge that we have. But we must, as fathers, spend time with our children. And it means you do whatever it takes. It might mean that you have to switch jobs. It might mean you have to take a pay cut, because your kid needs you involved in their life. And there's a short window. If your child is under 13, 14 years old, especially, man, you've got a real narrow window to define how they're going to think about their father for the rest of their life, and the relationship they're going to have with you the rest of their life. I always bought into, I'm going to be tough and I'm going to be a disciplinarian, and there are going to be times when they hate me. But when they're older, we're going to have an awesome relationship. Excuse me. So I think that that it has to start with discipline, and you have to get over, well, I just want them to be my friend. I just want them to like me. Okay, they will when they're 20, but right now, you got to be willing to be the tough guy, to lay down the law, to be the discipline, to say no, to take the keys away, to take the phone away. You do what it takes. Listen to the gut inside of you, which probably most likely is the Holy Spirit telling you, hey, do something. There are times when I ignored that, and I regret it big time to this day. But the Father, put it in us. There are certain things, if it wells up within you, this is not right, or my daughter should not wear that. Take a stand. Say, hey, you can't wear that out in public. You can't do that. If there is a certain young man or a young woman that your child is dating, and they do not share your values and maybe even go against your values, take a stand. Stand up and say, no, this isn't going to happen. Be willing to do whatever it takes. I'm telling you, the window is short. Their life is a long time. Do what it takes. Take a pay cut. There's someone listening today that needs to hear these words. Be willing to take the pay cut. Make the change. Do whatever you need to do to intervene to give that child more direct supervision and more of your time. So I just challenge you to be and do more, and just to not be afraid of what what temporary monetary consequences may be. And it might mean you don't go on as amazing of a vacation or something, some luxury item that you've got to give up. But it's totally worth it. We bought into this lie of materialism that says this stuff makes us happy. Well, it turns out, guess what? It doesn't. It doesn't make you happy. It just, basically, the more you get, the more you look around and go, well, I still don't have very much. Look how much they've got. You can always look around and find people that are way, way more successful, way better off than you. But there, back at the very beginning on the mountain with Moses, he said, do not covet. And we can't. We just got to be content with what we've got and be content with where he puts us. So I just want to challenge you as men, fathers, take your kids camping. Have them work with you on a project. Get out in the backyard. Get your hands dirty. Dig in the dirt. Build the fort. Build whatever it is they want, even if it looks crappy. Do it with them, even if you don't know how. If you don't know how, I guarantee you there's some old guy in your life that does. Invite him over. Have him teach you and admit to your child, hey, I don't know how to do this and I want to learn how. No shame in that. In fact, I got a lot of respect for people that at least can acknowledge, hey, I don't know how to do this, I need help. So I challenge you, spend time with your children. Be a father, be a man. They are never going to learn how to be a father, be a man, if we don't spend time with them. I'll leave you with this. My sister told me a story about a person in her life that one person was really babying her children. The other person was not. And these two ladies were talking to each other one day about what was happening. The one that was babying her children and couldn't figure out why her kids were acting different. She was talking to the other one, and the lady that was disciplining her children and tough with them, she just looked at her one day and she said, you know what? I am raising my children, my boys, to be men. I'm raising them to one day have a family, to defend a family, who are going to get up and go to work every day and provide and do whatever it takes. I'm raising my boys to be men. So let me ask you, are you raising your boys to be men who are self-reliant, who can get it done? Or are you raising them to be like little girls? I don't know about you, but I am going to do every bit of the best job I can to raise my boys to be men. Thank you for listening to Shabbat Lounge. I ask you once again to comment, like, subscribe, share this with someone who has or who is raising children, especially raising boys. Thank you.